Hi, everybody. I hope everything is going well with everybody of you. Today, I wanted really to share a point of view at one part and some analysis on the other part on what's going on in the Middle East. Things are getting really very serious, and we are very likely facing a lot of dramatic events and significant changes maybe. Let me start from the most recent developments. Of course, the whole world is talking about the Iran-United States nuclear talks. That is the title, that is the headline. But within this headline, there are so many things has nothing to do with its content or meaning. According to the most recent statements made by, the U.S. administration and the leading figures like Secretary Rubio, State Secretary, and Defense Secretary, and the President Trump too. The most recent is very important statements. I want to really share it with you and explain it, because if we just take the news as it is, it's hard. But let me explain what they're saying. The most recent statement, which I heard yesterday, like from Secretary Marco Rubio, it wasn't only in nuclear talks. There is something more important. And this important thing has to do probably significantly with the United States foreign policy toward the Middle East. Marco Rubio is saying we need the Iranian regime to understand, to respect its people. The Iranian regime need to show respect to the Iranian people. Stop persecution of the Iranian people. Don't arrest or detain demonstrators or protesters. Allow freedoms. This is pretty much the number 4, demand the United States is asking of Iran. But it is the most important and dominating. The nuclear talks, the nuclear demand has been not outdated, but too old. Because Iran has shifted its position and changed it multiple times. And Iran has lost a lot of time in the negotiations with the United States. The United States was winning time over and again since like 2015. And the reason I'm referring to this 4th request demand, which the negotiation is going to handle, is its significance and its importance. Marco Rubio, the president, and this defense secretary know very well the regime in Iran is a religious regime. It is not a civil regime. It's based on religion and religious theory and clergy. They know it since 1979. Now you come in 2026 and ask the regime to be civil regime. That is huge and, in fact, impossible. Turning a regime like authoritarian or like religious regime and ask him to be civil, act civil. Because when you ask the regime to respect Iranian people, this is civility. Give them a freedom, civility. Don't arrest the protesters. Democracy, civility. This is the impossible. So my first conclusion, this is the impossible. It's not gonna happen. Because like 40, 50 years since 1979 to today, Iran has deeply rooted its ideology inside the Iranian community and society. Of course, we have multiple, in fact, and a large portion of the Iranian people who do not accept these, ideologies. And this is valid and clear to everybody. So what is the United States is asking then? They are asking to significantly change the ideology, which is, as I said, impossible. It's impossible for the regime really to exercise, civil policies inside the Iranian community, because it has different orientation. And this has to do, as I said, with the Iranian ideology and strategy. Of course, one of the U.S. administration's officials, I don't remember whether it's Rubio or the president himself, said, I cannot understand the leader of Iran, what he's saying or how he's thinking. I don't understand him. And this is very true. This is very true, because there are sharp contrast and difference between the two countries' perception and ideology. Of course, this is not today, to be honest. If we go back to the hostages, American hostages, after 1979, I guess it's 1980 or 81, and they were at the hostage for 444 days. The same problem. There is misunderstanding. And this lack of understanding is related to so many things. Top important is culture and language, and the kind of the absorption of the theological, religious ideology in the Middle East. The U.S. administration may have some impressions about, for example, the Muslim Brotherhood, but the Wilayat al-Faqih, like the rule of the clergy in Iran, is different. And that's why the perception inside the Iranian regime is completely closed and narrowed to the rules and guidelines of this theory, political theory, Wilayat al-Faqih, the rule of the clergy. Of course, the roots of this theory is a long talk. I don't want to get you involved in it, and a little bit complicated, because it has to do with the faith and the exact, doctrine of the Shia faith and its guidelines. Then, when we have such contrast, what do you expect? Complete failure. My point of view. Impossible for these negotiations to proceed. Now we are forgetting about the nuclear. We are forgetting about the range of ballistic, missiles. We are forgetting about the proxies and supporting them. We're just talking about why the United States has changed its attitude since the last time they negotiated with Iran, because the United States administration today feels strong enough, powerful enough, controlling enough to impose kind of a process, an operation on hot areas around the world, areas where there is some instability, and the United States want to regain stability, impose its values, impose its civil, in fact, values and principles on these societies, and shaping up the world order into a more pro-American point of view. And of course, the other players in the world, political system like China and Russia are watching. And probably Russia is engaged in the Ukraine war. China has much more time to play, but I think with the power supremacy of the US power, they're gonna, in fact, bring China to accept so many things. Just like India, for example, now. They negotiated and they convinced India to buy like Venezuelan oil and accept US terms, and then the tariffs were lowered to India. So there is a huge possibility, strong possibility, China will come down and bow to the United States pressure on Iran. And you know, China is the big importer and buyer of Iranian oil and Venezuelan oil. So now it is not about the nuclear, you know, program of Iran, guys. It's about shaping the new world order. That is my impression. And to be honest, like it or dislike it is not the point here. But we're talking about like a region with 2/3 of the world energy sources are coming from. The talk is different. So the area, the region, Iran, the Arab Gulf, Iraq, and the rest of these countries are exporting pretty much 2/3 of, you know, oil needs of the world, and that would really make the story different. So the United States want a civil and stable democratic regime in Tehran, and you're gonna ask, how do you know? I said, it's not how do you know. This is like conclusion based on introductions. Those introductions, I would encourage you to go and read what Hillary Clinton wrote about it in her Hard Times memoir. You know, this is an experience of former United States State Secretary. She is describing in detail the situation between 1979 and then through the consequent, you know, U.S. administrations like Carter, Obama, and then George W. Bush, and etc., etc. So she is documenting, and this is very important, really, documenting the Iraqi-Iranian, you know, the United States-Iranian relations, and the talks, the negotiations, and how do Iranians feel about it. I wrote about it, in fact, in Arabic, and I published it because it's very important. We need to understand the roots. Going by the news is waste of time. But this is the roots. So Iran is never happy about the United States intervention. And I wouldn't hide it. She mentioned it in her book. She said 1963, when Mohammad Mossadegh took over in democratic election in Iran, and he won over the Shah, it is the United States and the CIA who toppled him later, because he was getting closer with Russia and he was trying to nationalize oil. So since that time, Iranian people, let us be clear, are not happy about the US intervention. But that's how politics, you see, goes. It's about the economic advantages and interest. So shaping the world through this way, there are again consequences. There are costs. The reason I'm saying this, because when the talks fails, you know what is the other option. The other option is destruction. The other option is war. The other option is not good for the whole region. This is one thing. The second thing I wanted really to highlight, you know, today is the importance of the United States foreign policy strategy, new strategy. It's very important. Like, countries in the region need to understand this. Some of them have already done, but we have like Yemen and Iraq and Lebanon is in fact is still struggling with the Iranian influence. So when you tell the Iranian government to stop support like your proxies in the region, in Yemen, in Iraq, in Lebanon, this is another, you see, tough demand which Iran will never be willing to discuss. They won't be willing even to discuss the range and quantity of the ballistic missiles. This is apart from the nukes and the enriched uranium, moving them, the capacity. This has been like an old story, the uranium and the nuclear talks. The main story is, in fact, the operation. And, you know, United States is giving each military operation a name. What is the name of the coming EC military operation? I don't know. But it's about shaping the new world economic order and It's about creating, in fact, a trend that is gonna always impose, you see, the United States supremacy and leadership in the world. So the road in front of the Iranian regime is hard, very hard. And those who knows the mentality, the ideology, and the inside, in fact, thinking of the Iranian regime, like me, I would say they won't be able to play it again. They played it in the past with Obama. They succeeded. They did the same with Joe Biden. They succeeded. But to be honest, Iran is a neighbor to Iraq, and I'm originally from Iraq, you know. And the relationship is very, very, very close and tied up together, socially and now ideologically. So whatever happens in Iran is going to impact Iraq as well. And if the Iranian, you see, diplomacy, if they are not willing to take and accept the changes, which I feel they're not, it's going to be a very bad situation. Very bad situation. Iran is not willing to negotiate the missiles, the range, like proxies, supporting ideologies, blah, blah, blah. This is too much. Too much. And if you go and dig, as I said in the past, you see them, they never accepted this. And I am from the region, and I'm telling you, it's hard to negotiate with Iran. It's very hard. They are nice, good people, and very civilized, the majority of the Iranian people. And they have been very close to Iraq too. But here is the regime, its ideology, its strategy, and they are always ignorant of the whole world. And that is the bad thing. So I am sorry to say the talks, which is starting very soon, Friday, will be dead. It will be born dead because of this. And of course, those who knows both sides understand that Donald Trump administration is serious about those demands. And Marco Rubio is very serious. And it's gonna be tough. It's not about the nukes. Iran must be born anew. Iran must be created anew in order for this regime, for this nation, to be admitted into the world order. This is the message. New world order. And those countries following Iran, for example, Iraq, need again to take the lessons before it's too late. Unfortunately, I'm hearing not like bad news, but people are very worried in the area, very kind of anxious, and this is creating a lot of difficulties for. Well, let us cross our fingers and hope I am wrong, but I'm sorry. The introductions I have read and gone through brought me to this conclusion. And let's wait and see. Wish you all good luck, stay safe, and always nice talking to you guys.